Let's talk about bases today. We completed acids in the last part. Today we'll do bases and we'll do pH series. Yes, just a moment. A base is either a metallic oxide or metallic hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide, which reacts with hydronium ions of an acid to form salt and water only. This is the legitimate definition of base. Okay? Now, some keywords here are very important. Whenever it is asked to you what is a base, you will mention that either it is a metallic oxide or a metallic hydroxide. Both metallic oxides and metallic hydroxides, oxides and hydroxides of metals, they are bases. And there is a special mention here of a compound, which is a specific compound, ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide is NH4OH, this one. That is also a base. So that's a non-metallic hydroxide, but an exception because NH4 ammonium is a positive ion, right? It is a cation. And that's why it is mentioned over here that ammonium hydroxide is also a base. So metallic oxide, metallic hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide, acha, it does one specific thing. What does it do? It reacts with hydronium ions. It reacts with hydronium ions of an acid to form salt and water only. It reacts with hydronium ions of an acid to form salt and water only. This only word is very important here because there are some compounds which react with acids or hydronium ions of acids to form salt, water, and some other compound. And these compounds which I'm talking about are not exactly the basis which we are defining. Okay, so we'll not talk about those right now. We will talk about uh, a base which fits into this definition. For example, copper oxide, magnesium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide. These all compounds reacts with bases, so acids, to form their respective salts and water only. Okay, what is this reaction known as? You have studied this in the previous part. This reaction is also known as neutralization reaction. A reaction in which acid reacts with a base to form salt and water only. Okay, so base is defined on the basis of neutralization reaction. Okay, what is a basic oxide? A basic oxide is a metallic oxide which contains the ion O2 minus and reacts with an acid to form salt and water only. What is a basic oxide? It is a metallic oxide which contains the ion O2 minus and reacts with an acid to form salt and water only. Okay, the importance of the word only in this definition. If it is omitted, certain compounds which are quite different from basic metallic oxides and hydroxide would be included in the definition of the base. For example, lead 4 oxide. Now, lead 4 oxide is a metallic oxide. But when lead oxide reacts with hydrochloric acid, what does it form? You will be shocked. It will form lead chloride plus water and one more substance, one more uh, gas, one more compound, I'm sorry, not compound, element, chlorine. So it forms salt and water, but with salt and water, it forms some other compound also, and that's why lead 4 oxide is not a base. So a question can be asked, why lead 4 oxide or PbO2 is not a base? Why lead 4 oxide or PbO2 is not a base? Lead 4 oxide is not a base because on reaction with acid, like other metallic oxide, it does not form salt and water only. And then you have to give this reaction and write It forms chlorine as well, and hence it is not a typical base. Basic hydroxide. It is a metallic hydroxide which contains OH minus ion, and it will react with an acid to give salt and water only. For example, sodium hydroxide NaOH, aluminium hydroxide AlOH thrice. So basic hydroxide plus acid gives salt and water only. So that's also a base. Then comes alkali. Now you must be wondering what is this third thing, because that was not mentioned till now. An alkali is a basic hydroxide. Always remember, alkalis are always basic hydroxide, not basic oxide. Always basic hydroxides, which when dissolved in water produces hydroxyl ions as the only negatively charged ions. So NaOH when dissolved in water forms Na plus metallic ions and OH minus the only negatively charged ions. An alkali is a base which is soluble in water. Okay, so alkali, what is alkali? The definition of alkali is it is a base which is soluble in water. It is a basic hydroxide which when dissolved in water produces the only negatively charged ion as OH minus. All alkalis furnish OH minus ions in aqueous solution. All metallic oxides and hydroxides are insoluble except of sodium, potassium and calcium, slightly soluble. See, generally metallic oxides and hydroxides which are basic in nature are insoluble in water, but sodium, potassium and calcium oxides and hydroxide are calcium is slightly soluble. Sodium and potassium oxides and hydroxide are completely soluble. The most common soluble bases, that is alkalis. Remember the example. The most common soluble bases or alkalis are sodium hydroxide, NaOH, common name caustic soda, remember the common name as well. Potassium hydroxide, formula KOH, common name caustic potash. Calcium hydroxide, slightly soluble, CaOH twice or slaked lime, common name, and ammonium hydroxide NH4OH. So all these are the examples of alkalis. What are alkalis? Water soluble bases, right? So is the base part clear now? Base is a metallic oxide or hydroxide, okay, which reacts with hydronium ions of an acid to form salt and water only. Then there can be basic oxides. uh, Exception is lead oxide. There can be basic hydroxide which forms salt and water only with acid. There can be alkalis which are special kinds of water soluble bases. The first two means sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are strong alkalis. The first two are strong alkalis. Let me write the name. Please note it down. NaOH, caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, and KOH, caustic potash, potassium hydroxide. These are strong alkalis. These are strong alkalis, remember, because they are completely ionized in their aqueous solution. And the last two means calcium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide are weak alkalis because they are feebly ionized. Feebly means only a little, remember that. Okay, feebly ionized in their aqueous solution. Okay, now uh, you remember I taught you about strong acids. What are strong acids? Strong acids are those compounds which furnish or which create a higher concentration of hydrogen ions, which creates a higher concentration of hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. Okay, so we can say that acids are those special compounds which create higher concentration of hydrogen ions. Strong acids are those compounds which create a large concentration of hydronium ions or hydrogen ions when mixed with water or when dissolved in water. Similarly, strong alkalis are those compounds which are completely ionized and create a higher concentration of hydroxide ions when dissolved in water. Okay, so that was some similarity between strong alkalis and strong acids. Both completely ionize in their aqueous solution and both furnish high concentration of the respective ions. Okay, one more important statement which can be asked in exam. All alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. So they might ask you why. Why are all alkalis bases, but all bases not alkalis? See, ferric hydroxide, cupric hydroxide, these two hydroxides are bases, but not alkalis because they are insoluble in water. Okay, so all alkalis, they furnish hydroxide ions, hydroxyl ions when dissolved in water. Okay, that's why they are, you can say, basic in nature. But all bases which has hydroxide ions in them, they are insoluble in water, so they are not alkalis. So alkalis are water soluble bases, but bases cannot be alkalis. Bases may or may not be alkalis. Some bases show basic property, but they are not alkalis because they are not water soluble. Okay, remember with example. Classification of bases. Let's start with classification. A strong base. What is a strong base? Strong base undergoes almost complete dissociation in aqueous solution to produce high concentration of OH minus ions. It dissociates completely to produce a high concentration of OH minus ions. For example, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide converts into Na plus and OH minus. Potassium hydroxide converts into K plus and OH minus. So what is happening? These bases, they are dissociating in water, in aqueous solution. But how is this dissociation? This dissociation is almost complete. What do you mean by almost complete dissociation? Means uh, the number of sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide molecules present in the aqueous solution, all of that molecules, they dissociate into sodium and hydroxide ions mostly. So there is a high concentration of OH minus ions, high concentration. That means the number of OH minus ions when potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide are dissolved in water is very, very high. If the number of hydroxyl ions formed or dissociated are very high, that means this base, these bases, both the bases are very, very strong base. Okay, because the concentration of hydroxide ions decides. See, we can call it hydroxide or hydroxyl, doesn't make any much difference. Okay, so the concentration of hydroxyl or hydroxide ions decides whether a compound is a strong base or a weak base. So let's go to the next definition, which is weak base. It undergoes only a partial dissociation or ionization in aqueous solution to produce a low concentration of hydroxyl ion in solution. So the keywords here for you to remember in weak base, in the definition of weak base, is partial dissociation. Partial means only a little. Okay, in aqueous solution to produce low concentration of OH minus ions in solution. Okay, examples are ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. They undergo partial dissociation. They produce hydroxyl ions, hydroxyl or hydroxide ions, but not to a greater extent, not in a high concentration. The concentration of hydroxide ions formed is less as comparatively to sodium and potassium hydroxide. That's why ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxides are weak bases. Okay, so the first basis of classification was on the basis of the strength of base. Second basis of classification is on the basis of their acidity. Now you will think that acidity is something like uh, indigestion or something. No, acidity of a base, I'll give you the definition of that. The number of hydroxyl ions, OH minus ions, which can be produced per molecule of the base in aqueous solution, the number of hydroxyl ions which can be produced per molecule of the base in aqueous solution, or the number of hydrogen ions of an acid with which a molecule of that base will react to produce salt and water only, is known as acidity of the base. Number of hydroxyl ions which can be produced per molecule of the base. So what you have to do is you have to look at the formula of the base and find out how many hydroxyl ions can it make, can it furnish per molecule. That is the acidity of the base. So first example is monoacidic base. It is a base that dissociates in molten or fused state or in aqueous solutions to produce one hydroxide ions per molecule of that base. For example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and ammonium hydroxide. See, if you see all the formulae, look at all the formulae. I'll note down one thing which I'm indicating. How many hydroxide ions per molecule are present in each of them? The answer is 1. Each molecule has got 1 hydroxide ions per molecule. That's why they are known as monoacidic base. जैसे एसिड्स में हमने देखा था मोनो बेसिक एसिड, डाई बेसिक एसिड, ट्राई बेसिक एसिड, वैसे बेसिस में भी होता है मोनो एसिडिक बेस, डाई एसिडिक बेस, ट्राई एसिडिक बेस. ये किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? नंबर ऑफ हाइड्रोक्साइड आयंस पर मॉलिक्यूल्स which are present in that base. Okay, diacidic base, as I told you, it is a base, it is a base that dissociates in molten state or in aqueous solutions to produce 2 hydroxide ions per molecule of that base. So there are how many hydroxide ions per molecule? 2. That's why this is known as diacidic base. CaOH twice, CuOH twice. So calcium hydroxide is Ca2 plus and 2OH minus. CuOH twice. Copper hydroxide is Cu2 plus and 2OH minus. So remember, in this formula, if you see the formula of diacidic base, you will find 2 hydroxides, 2 hydroxide per molecule. That's a diacidic base. Okay, there is some extra information which is given here. For water for water insoluble hydroxides, acidity is equal to the number of replaceable hydroxide ions in one molecule of that base. For water insoluble hydroxide is diacidic. You saw here calcium hydroxide and copper hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is slightly soluble in water. Copper hydroxide is not soluble in water. So acidity in this case is equal to the number of replaceable hydroxide ions in one molecule of that base. That is how many hydroxide ions you see per molecule. That is its acidity. Triacidic base. Triacidic base is a base that dissociates in aqueous solution to produce 3 hydroxyl ions per molecule of that base, or contains 3 replaceable hydroxyl ions per molecule of that base. For example, aluminium hydroxide and ferric hydroxide. OH thrice, OH thrice. Whenever you see OH thrice, it's a triacidic base. No more information has been given, and I think no more information is required because this is very trivial, and you can just look at the formula, chemical formula of the base, and understand what is the type of the acidity of that base. Okay, so these are the classification of bases. Now let's move to the preparation of bases. So bases can be prepared by metals, from metals. How? When metals reacts with oxygen, they form metallic oxides, which is a base. Remember the balanced chemical equation. You have to write a balanced chemical equation whenever examples are asked to you. Okay, this will not be repeated by me again and again. Okay, by the action of water on reactive metals. So metals also react with oxygen to produce basic oxides, but metal react with water also to produce basic hydroxide, and hydrogen is given out. So the different examples are here. You can understand the pattern that these metals which are shown here, they react with water. Not all metals. Metals like sodium, potassium, and calcium. I think magnesium also does that, but only with hot water. And iron does that with steam. Okay. So here you have to just remember three examples of sodium, potassium, and calcium. They react with cold water to form base or alkali or hydroxide, plus they release hydrogen. Third is by the action of water on soluble metallic oxides. So the metallic oxides which were formed in the first example, when they are dissolved in water, when these metallic oxides are dissolved in water, they form alkali, water soluble alkali. That is a base. Okay, so that's one more method of forming an alkali. Then fourth method is by double decomposition. Aqueous solution of salts with a base precipitate the respective metallic hydroxide. So salt plus base will also give a basic hydroxide. Ferric chloride, FeCl3 plus sodium hydroxide gives ferric hydroxide, which precipitates, which is an insoluble basic hydroxide, plus normal salt. This will be remained in solution. So this is a double decomposition reaction where salt react with the base to form basic hydroxide and normal salt. Fifth is by the action of oxygen on metal sulfides. So zinc sulfide reacts with oxygen on heating to give zinc oxide plus sulfur dioxide. So oxygen when reacts with metallic sulfides, it produces a metallic oxide and sulfur dioxide is given out. So this metallic oxide which we are getting is also a base. Sixth method, by decomposition of salt. Calcium carbonate on heating directly decomposes into calcium oxide, which is a basic oxide, metallic oxide, and carbon dioxide is released. Here one note is given, please remember it. Sodium and potassium carbonates do not decompose on heating. So you have to remember whenever you give example of decomposition of carbonate to form base, you have to give the examples of calcium carbonate and copper carbonate only. We do not know about other carbonates as much. Okay, so in chemistry तुक्का मत लगाओ, जो तुम्हें टेक्स्ट बुक में इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है उसी को तुम लिखो. ठीक है. मेटालिक नाइट्रेट, मेटालिक कार्बोनेट, मेटालिक सल्फाइड में जो जो कंपाउंड्स के एग्जाम्पल तुम्हें टेक्स्ट बुक में दिए हैं वो ही चलेंगे. तुम अपने मन से कोई भी फॉर्मूला नहीं बना सकते. इसलिए केमिस्ट्री में इंफॉर्मेशन को लर्न करना बहुत जरूरी है, बाय हार्ट करना. ठीक है, लॉजिक इन्वॉल्व है लेकिन इतना नहीं, इंफॉर्मेशन ज्यादा इन्वॉल्व है केमिस्ट्री में. and that might be a little stressful for those who cannot memorize things. तो अभी से बोल रहा हूं मैं कि ये जो चैप्टर है ये थोड़ा सा इसका डिटेल्स थोड़ा हैवी है, तुम्हें लर्न करना पड़ेगा. पहले दो चैप्टर में ऐसा नहीं था, इस चैप्टर में खास करके यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल. ओके, नेक्स्ट लेट्स गो टू मेटालिक नाइट्रेट. सो मेटालिक नाइट्रेट को जब हम हीट करते हैं, whenever we heat metallic nitrate like let's say calcium nitrate, it decomposes into basic oxide, calcium oxide. It gives out nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. Okay, so इसमें भी लिखा है कि सोडियम एंड पोटेशियम नाइट्रेट डू नॉट गिव मेटालिक ऑक्साइड व्हेन डीकंपोज. सो इसमें भी तुम्हें याद रखना है कि यू हैव टू गिव एग्जांपल ऑफ कैल्शियम नाइट्रेट एंड जिंक नाइट्रेट ओनली. अमोनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड कैसे प्रिपेयर होता है? अमोनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड कैन बी प्रिपेयर्ड by simply dissolving ammonia gas in water. Ammonia is extremely soluble in water. तो अमोनिया के ऊपर तो पूरा चैप्टर पढ़ने वाले हम लोग। एक 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 आगे तुम्हें चैप्टर आएगा स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड्स, जिसमें अमोनिया, स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड्स में क्या क्या है मैं बता देता हूँ। एक्चुअली जो हमने इस चैप्टर में पढ़ा है, द थिंग्स विच वी हैव स्टडीड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर, वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी इट फर्दर। जस्ट अ मोमेंट। या yes, so I was talking about study of compounds. In study of compounds you are going to have HCl, hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid. First, we are going to study about hydrogen chloride gas and then hydrochloric acid in this chapter. So this is a chapter you can see in your textbook, study of compounds. Okay, then the next chapter is uh, HNO3, nitric acid. Full chapter on nitric acid, full chapter on hydrogen chloride. Then ammonia, NH3, and then sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So these are so important inorganic compounds के इनको समझने के लिए हमने एक एक्स्ट्रा 4 चैप्टर बना लिए। स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड्स के 4 पार्ट है, 4 छोटे छोटे चैप्टर्स है, ठीक है। सो दीज आर वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंपाउंड्स, और ये एक एसिड बेसिस एंड सॉल्ट्स एंड ये स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड, ये दोनों इतने इंटर रिलेटेड टॉपिक्स है कि यहाँ पे जो भी चीजें तुम जितने केमिकल इक्वेशंस तुमने पढ़े वो सब स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड में रिपीट होते हैं। सो एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन कहाँ से पूछा जाता है ये हमें समझ में नहीं आता, ये स्टडी ऑफ कंपाउंड्स का क्वेश्चन है या एसिड बेसिस एंड सॉल्ट्स का क्वेश्चन है, बिकॉज दे आर सो सिमिलर टू ईच अदर, राइट। सो वी डोंट हैव टू वरी कि हमें क्या आंसर लिखना है, बिकॉज दोनों का आंसर सेम है। वी आर स्टडिंग द सेम टॉपिक्स बट विद डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव एंड डेप्थ। तो वहां पे थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में हमें ये सारे कंपाउंड्स को पढ़ना है, ठीक है। इसके लिए आई एम टेलिंग दैट केमिस्ट्री को तुम लाइटली मत लो, बिकॉज इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन तुम्हारे सामने आने वाली है दैट यू माइट फील लॉस्ट एट टाइम्स, बट यू शुड नॉट। एक्चुअली देर इज नो, यू डोंट हैव टू फील वरिड कि बहुत डिफिकल्ट है कैसे करेंगे। डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, तुम्हें थोड़ा सा लर्निंग पे ध्यान देना पड़ेगा फॉर मेमोराइजिंग द डिटेल्स। ओके, प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ बेसिस और अल्कलीज। फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज क्या है अल्कलीज की? दे हैव अ शार्प एंड बिटर टेस्ट, ठीक है। शार्प एंड अ बिटर टेस्ट, रिमेंबर दैट। जैसे वहां पे सार टेस्ट था एसिड में, यहाँ पे शार्प एंड बिटर टेस्ट है। दे चेंज द कलर ऑफ इंडिकेटर्स। इंडिकेटर्स के बारे में हमने डिटेल में पढ़ा था लास्ट क्लास में, एंड दिस इज कंटिन्यूड हियर। तो बेसिस को भी आइडेंटिफाई करने वाले इंडिकेटर्स है। रेड लिटमस होता है which turns to blue when introduced in a basic medium. मिथाइल ऑरेंज, ऑरेंज टू येलो में बदल जाता है when introduced in basic medium. Phenolphthalein in basic medium, it becomes colorless to pink. Insoluble bases do not affect indicators. तो ये जो अल्कलीज की प्रॉपर्टीज है, ये बेसिस की नहीं है, एक्चुअली अल्कलीज की प्रॉपर्टी है। इंडिकेटर का कलर चेंज सिर्फ अल्कली कर सकता है, बिकॉज इंडिकेटर में कलर चेंज को दिखाने के लिए हमें हाइड्रोक्साइल आयंस चाहिए। हाइड्रोक्सिल आयंस तभी डिसोसिएट होंगे जब वो वाटर सोल्यूबल बेस होगा, मतलब अल्कली होगा, ठीक है। सो दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी। नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, दे आर सोपी सब्सटेंसेस, दे आर सोपी टू टच, स्लिपरी टू टच। सोप में तुम्हारे जो डे टू डे लाइफ में सोप्स यूज होते हैं, it has got bases in them, it has got bases in them. Caustic soda and caustic potash are strong alkalis We know that alkalis react with oil to form soap. Since our skin contains oil in the form of fat, hence when we touch caustic soda or caustic potash, a reaction takes place and soapy solutions are formed. So whenever we touch caustic soda or caustic potash or any soap with our skin, a reaction takes place and lather is formed. Soapy solutions or lather, जिससे तुम तुम्हारे बॉडी को क्लीन करते हो. Okay, taking it further, fourth physical property of bases, they are strong electrolytes. What do you mean by electrolytes? They conduct electricity. Fifth property, they show a mild corrosive action or slight burn on the skin. They show a mild corrosive action or slight burn on the skin. Chemical properties. Strong alkalis absorb carbon dioxide from air to form carbonates. Very, very important property. Please note all these properties down and try to remember the chemical equations also. Sodium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide from air to form sodium carbonate and water. Next, they neutralize acid to form salt and water only. Neutralization reaction, calcium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid gives calcium chloride plus water only. I'm just uh, reading the first reaction. The second one is a pattern in which the particular property is going. Okay, so I don't have to read all the reaction, all the examples. I'm just focusing on one to understand these properties. Okay, they precipitate, third property of bases, they precipitate as insoluble metallic hydroxide when added to the solution of salts of heavy metals, visibly copper, iron, zinc, etc. Okay, so copper, iron, zinc, these are all heavy metals. They're not, they are actually transition metals. So transition metals, salts, when react with bases, they form another salt solution and insoluble hydroxide. So it's a double decomposition reaction. I'll give you an example. The example is copper sulfate, which is a metallic salt of copper, and copper is a transition metal, a heavy metal. Uh, it forms, when this copper sulfate reacts with ammonium hydroxide, which is a base, in aqueous solution, it forms ammonium salt in aqueous solution, that is ammonium sulfate again, and it gives a PPT, insoluble hydroxide of copper hydroxide, which is pale blue in color. Okay, so you get colorful hydroxides of uh, um, heavy metals when the salts of heavy metals react with any base. Okay, so this particular part of the chapter, this particular you can say section about the properties of bases is again repeating in the next part. It is again repeating in the next part. So which is the next part? The next chapter is known as uh, analytical chemistry. So this particular part is from the next chapter, chapter number 4, or in some books it is written as 3b. This is 3a, acid, bases and salts, and that is 3b, and that is known as analytical chemistry, where some reagents are some very important chemicals. Some reagents are used, reagents like ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH, and sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Okay, so these two reagents are used and they are reacted with different metallic salts or compounds to get PPTs. So if the metallic salt is unknown, or if the salt solution of metal is unknown, according to the color of PPT, we can understand what kind of metal ions are present in that particular unknown salt solution. Okay, so that is studied in analytical chemistry in detail. Okay, and the reagents are which ones? ammonium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, which are also mentioned over here. Zinc sulfate plus sodium hydroxide gives sodium sulfate plus zinc hydroxide, which is a gelatinous white color PPT. So zinc sulfate, it is you can say it is an aqueous solution which has no color, but as you add sodium hydroxide caustic soda solution in it, it forms sodium sulfate aqueous solution, which is again colorless, and gelatinous white PPT of zinc hydroxide. So if we don't know that what this zinc hydroxide solution is, if this zinc hydroxide solution is unknown to us, सपोज तुम्हारे केमिकल लैब में तुम्हें एक सोल्यूशन मिला और वो जिंक हाइड्रोक्साइड है, तुम्हें नहीं पता है वो क्या है, ठीक है, टीचर इज नॉट टेलिंग यू दैट इट इज जिंक सल्फेट, ओके, सो टीचर इज टेलिंग कि ये कौन सा, इसमें कौन से मेटालिक आयन से वो पता लगा, तो तुम बोलोगे ठीक है, तो तुम क्या करोगे, एक रीएजेंट ले लोगे, सपोज यू विल टेक सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड कॉस्टिक सोडा, और उसमें कॉस्टिक सोडा जब तुम डालोगे तो उसमें एक पीपीटी बनेगा, वो पीपीटी का कलर क्या होगा, जिलेटिनियस व्हाइट। पीपीटी का कलर देख के यू विल फिगर आउट कि इसमें तो जिंक के आयंस है, मतलब इसमें दिस इज अ सॉल्ट सोल्यूशन ऑफ जिंक, दिस अननोन सोल्यूशन इज अ सॉल्ट सोल्यूशन ऑफ जिंक, ठीक है। इसके बारे में हमें पढ़ना है इस चैप्टर के, मतलब इसके बाद वाले चैप्टर में, यू कैन से एनालिटिकल केमिस्ट्री में। सो दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एनालिटिकल केमिस्ट्री। सो तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा है कि ये दिस चैप्टर इज नॉट ओनली अबाउट यू कैन से एसिड बेसिस इन सॉल्ट्स में सिर्फ एसिड और बेसिस और सॉल्ट्स की बात नहीं करनी है, हमें बहुत कुछ पढ़ा रहे हैं, एक्चुअली इनडायरेक्टली हमें इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रही है, एंड वी हैव टू एक्चुअली बी माइंडफुल ऑफ ऑल दिस इंफॉर्मेशन विच we are getting. The hydroxides of zinc, aluminium and lead, being amphoteric by nature, dissolves in excess of sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, but other hydroxides do not, ठीक है। ये फिर से यहाँ पे excess of दो एलिमेंट का नाम लिया है, excess of sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, they are again reagents, okay। अब ये लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हाइड्रोक्साइड्स ऑफ जिंक, एल्यूमिनियम एंड लेड बीइंग एम्फोटेरिक इन नेचर, व्हाट इज एम्फोटेरिक, अगेन आई एम टेलिंग यू, सम स्टूडेंट आस्क्ड मी before some time, I think in last chapter or something, that what is amphoteric. I will tell you what is amphoteric. Okay, remember, amphoteric means showing properties of both acids as well as bases. Amphoteric is showing properties of both acids as well as bases. Okay, so since the hydroxide of zinc, aluminium and lead, they are amphoteric in nature, that means they show the properties of acids as well as bases. That means since they are amphoteric in nature, they dissolve in excess, they dissolve in excess of sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, but other hydroxide which are not amphoteric, they do not dissolve, okay। So remember this little tiny information which is given here, इसके ऊपर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं। अच्छा, इसके ऊपर they have already given one equation which you must remember, zinc hydroxide, which is a hydroxide, means a base reacts with potassium hydroxide, another base, to form sodium zincate, which is a salt, and water. तो यू मस्ट बी वंडरिंग कि ये दो बेसिस रिएक्ट करके एक न्यूट्रलाइजेशन रिएक्शन जैसा कुछ कैसे कर रहे हैं, मतलब हाउ दे आर बिहेविंग, like you know, one acid is reacting with one base, because I just told you that this zinc hydroxide is amphoteric in nature. So when it reacts with sodium hydroxide, it reacts as a acid, it reacts as an acid, and it forms salt and water only. ठीक है, तो बेसिस थोड़े से टेक्निकल पार्ट में ज्यादा है, एसिड थोड़ा अच्छा था, बेसिस थोड़े से ज्यादा टेक्निकल है, बट इट्स ओके। Fourth property, chemical property of bases is when alkalis are warmed with ammonium salt, ammonia gas is given out. Alkalis को जब हम ammonium salt के साथ हीट करते हैं, अमोनिया गैस निकलता है। दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रॉपर्टी, इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चंस हो सकते हैं। रिमेंबर, ammonium salt, ammonium chloride plus alkali, sodium hydroxide gives salt, water and ammonia. Ammonium chloride with calcium hydroxide gives salt, water and ammonia. पैटर्न समझ में आ गया? कोई भी अमोनियम सॉल्ट जब अल्कली के साथ हीट करते हैं हम उसको, तो अमोनिया गैस रिलीज होता है। जनरल यूजेस देखो, बेसिस के सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड का यूज देखो, सोप के मैन्युफैक्चर में यूज होता है। पोटेशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड सॉल्ट्स बनाने के लिए, सोप्स बनाने के लिए और बैटरीज में यूज होता है। कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड का यूज देखो, स्लेकेट लाइम जिसको हम बोलते हैं, ब्लीचिंग पाउडर बनाने के लिए यूज होता है। ब्लीचिंग पाउडर पता है तुम्हें क्या है? नहीं पता है? प्लीज पता लगाओ ब्लीचिंग पाउडर क्या है। हम लोग इसको डे टू डे लाइफ में यूज करते हैं, खास करके भी रेनी सीजन में ब्लीचिंग पाउडर यूज होता है। तुम्हारे स्विमिंग पूल में ब्लीचिंग पाउडर यूज होता है। क्यों यूज होता है इसको तुम मुझे, अच्छा ये टास्क दे रहा हूं मैं तुम्हें, व्हाट इज ब्लीचिंग पाउडर, वेयर इट इज यूज्ड, एंड व्हाट इज इट्स यू कैन से कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स। ठीक है, ये ब्लीचिंग पाउडर के बारे में तुम थोड़ा रिसर्च करोगे एंड यू विल टेल मी इन द ग्रुप, तुम ग्रुप में बताओगे। ठीक है, ये ग्रुप में बताने से ये होगा कि आई विल अंडरस्टैंड कि यू आर लिसनिंग टू माई लेक्चर वेरी केयरफुली। ठीक है, चलो, मैन्युफैक्चर ऑफ ब्लीचिंग पाउडर एंड सॉफ्टनिंग ऑफ हार्ड वाटर, ये तुमने लास्ट ईयर पढ़ा था हार्ड वाटर के बारे में, वाटर चैप्टर में। ठीक है, सॉफ्टनिंग ऑफ हार्ड वाटर क्या होता है, अगर तुम्हें याद नहीं है इसके ऊपर भी रिसर्च करो। मैग्नीशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, इट इज यूज्ड एज एन एंटासिड, न्यूट्रलाइजेस एसिडिटी। एंटासिड के बारे में अभी मैं तुम्हें बताऊंगा आगे, पीएच आ रहा है इसमें ही पता चलेगा। जब हमें एसिडिटी होती है तो वी हैव सम मेडिसिन विच आर एंटासिड्स, जैसे कि डाइजीन है या फिर इनो है, दीज आर ऑल एंटासिड्स। तो मिल्क ऑफ मैग्नीशिया भी बोलते हैं इसको, मैग्नीशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड को। इससे हमारे बॉडी में जो एसिडिटी है उसको वो कम करता है, खास करके हमारे ये डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट में जो एसिडिटी होती है, जिससे हमें बर्निंग सेंसेशन, इनडाइजेशन या फिर ऐसा अनईजी लगता है, उसको वो कम करता है। एल्यूमिनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, it is used as a foaming agent in fire extinguishers. Ammonium hydroxide, it is used to remove grease stains from clothes, laundries में use होता है। Magnesia, in making refractory bricks. Wow. Calcium hydro, I don't know what is refractory bricks, so if you want you can search about that. Calcium oxide, drying agent या फिर basic flux के हिसाब से यूज होता है। ड्राइंग एजेंट के बारे में भी हमने क्लास 9th में पढ़ा था, व्हाट आर ड्राइंग एजेंट्स। ठीक है, आई थिंक क्लास 10th में भी हम लोग यही चैप्टर में पढ़ने वाले हैं फिर से, सो वी आर गोइंग टू गो देयर। ओके, नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ एसिडिक एंड बेसिक सॉल्यूशन। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक, प्लीज पे अटेंशन। न्यू टॉपिक, acids and bases are done, so we are going to study about the strength of acidic and basic solutions. Now, please answer yourself that how do we know whether a substance is acidic or basic? How do we know whether a substance is acidic or basic? We use indicators, right? We use indicators to find out whether a substance is acidic or basic. But okay, indicator will change its color and it will tell you that whether a substance is acidic or basic. And we can find out, okay, ये substance acidic है, ये basic है. But which is strong acid and which is weak acid? Which is strong base and which is weak base? How will we come to know that? We can know, or we can come to know about the strength of an acid or a base by using a device or a system or some you can say uh, some tools which are part of the universal indicator. Okay, so a system has been developed by some scientists to understand about the strength of acids and acidic and basic solution, because you will understand whether a substance is acidic or basic, but how to understand whether it is a strong acid or a weak acid or a strong base or a weak base, that is the question. So here they have given some information, some mathematical information. I will talk about only selective parts from that which is basically pertaining to your exam. Okay, in any acidic or basic solution, hydronium ions concentration or hydroxyl ion concentration decides whether it is a strong acid or a weak acid. So if somehow we can find the concentration of hydronium ions or hydroxide ions in acids and bases respectively, we can come to know about the strength of that particular solution. Okay, so a Danish biochemist in 1909 devised a scale known as pH scale. P means potens. Potens means power. In German, P means potens, means power. And H means hydrogen. H means hydrogen. pH means power of hydrogen. So this scale or this system tells you regarding the power of hydrogen in an acidic or a basic solution. Okay, so a Danish biochemist, he devised a scale or a system which can measure the power of hydrogen in any solution. Now there is this technical definition of pH which is not in your syllabus, so don't worry about it. It was not in your syllabus before also. So this is, you can say, the mathematical aspect of it. The pH of a solution is negative logarithm to the base of 10 of the hydrogen ion concentration expressed in moles per liter. Okay, so this pH concentration of any solution has been divided uh, on a scale which ranges from 0 to 14. Do you see the scale? It has numbers from 0 to 14. Number 7 being neutral. Number 7 on the pH scale represents neutrality of the solution. Numbers less than 7, that is 6, 4, pH 6, 5, 4, indicates that acidic nature is increasing as the number decreases. So as you move towards the left side of 7, the acidic nature increase. So 6 is acidic, 5 is also acidic, but the acidic nature is increasing. So 0 is, you can say, most acidic, highly acidic. And as you move towards the right of 7, alkaline nature increases, basic nature is increasing. So 8 is basic, 9 is basic, the basic nature is increasing, and you can say 14 is, you can say, most basic or most alkaline. So in this way, a scale was developed which has 14 numbers on it, 7 being neutral, 1 to 7 being acidic, and 7 to 14 being basic. So how do we, okay, we have a scale, but how do we relate it with any solution? Because solution will not directly give you a number. So a universal indicator was prepared. Okay, what is a universal indicator? I'll tell you. In a colorless liquid, a reasonably accurate pH value can be obtained by adding a universal indicator. अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई colorless liquid है, colorless liquid किसका, acid का या base का, उसकी pH वैल्यू पता लगाने के लिए we can add a universal indicator to it, which is a colorful dye. ठीक है, और वो colorful dye क्या करेगी, वो अपना color change करेगी. So universal indicator is a mixture of indicator dyes that gives a spectrum of colors depending on how acidic or alkaline solution is. The universal indicator gives different colors at different concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution. इट इज प्रिपेयर्ड इन सच अ मैनर कि अगर सोल्यूशन में हाइड्रोजन या हाइड्रोनियम या हाइड्रोक्सिल आयंस का अलग अलग सोल्यूशन है, तो ये यूनिवर्सल इंडिकेटर विच इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ इंडिकेटर डाइज which is prepared from some naturally occurring dyes, naturally occurring colors which are extracted from plants. ठीक है, उसको मिक्स करके ये यूनिवर्सल इंडिकेटर बनाया है. ये यूनिवर्सल इंडिकेटर के ड्रॉप्स को अगर तुम किसी भी अननोन सोल्यूशन में डालोगे, ये सोल्यूशन का कलर चेंज हो जाएगा. फिर ये स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ कलर्स को हम ये नंबर्स के साथ रिलेट कर सकते हैं, और ये डिफरेंट कलर्स के हिसाब से अगर हम वो नंबर वाले चार्ट को देखें, तो वी कैन फाइंड द नेचर एंड स्ट्रेंथ of acidity or basicity of any substance. So let me show you that color chart. Okay, so this is the color chart. Green is the color given to, let me make it interesting, more interesting, by choosing some nice colors. Okay, so green color of universal indicator in any substance, let's say water. हमने इसको water में डाला universal indicator को, हमें क्या color मिला? Green. Green color means the uh, pH value is 7. pH value क्या है? 7. And pH value 7 means that particular solution is neutral in nature. ठीक है? Then comes yellow color. Yellow color means pH value is 5. It is slightly acidic. The solution is slightly acidic. Then comes pink color. Pink color means the solution is little more acidic. Then comes red color. ठीक है, जीरो पे एकदम डार्क रेड हो जाएगा. रेड कलर मीन्स द सोल्यूशन इज हाईली एसिडिक. ठीक है, और अगर तुम बोलोगे सर ये 6 पे क्या कलर आएगा, तो ग्रीन और येलो के बीच में कुछ आएगा, लाइट ग्रीन, लाइट ग्रीनिश या ग्रीनिश येलो, ऐसा कुछ आएगा. ठीक है, सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि पिंक और रेड के बीच में क्या आएगा, येलो और पिंक के बीच में क्या आएगा. कलर ग्रेजुअली वो चेंज होता है. So we can understand about the acidity of a substance very easily. Then, if we can get blue color, that means if we get if we get blue color on adding few drops of universal indicator in the solution, that means the solution is basic, not very highly basic, but yes, it is basic in nature. If we get indigo color, indigo is slightly, you can say, dark blue. Indigo is somewhat like this. Yeah, this is indigo. Indigo means little bit more basic. Violet. Okay, violet. Let me go to violet. Hmm, ये तो पिंक दिखा रहा है यहाँ पे. वायलेट क्या होगा? अच्छा, पिंक ये था. ओके, लेट मी चेक. ये क्या है? ये क्रिम्सन है. यहाँ पे जाने से मुझे मिल जाएगा वायलेट. हम्म, लेवेंडर. यहाँ पे होगा शायद पर्पल. कोई डार्क पिंक है. वायलेट किधर है यार? ये सब पिंक के शेड्स है. ओके, हम लोग मान लेते हैं कि वायलेट इज समथिंग लाइक this, or this, maybe this, let's say this. Okay, if we are getting, हाँ ये तो violet लग ही रहा है. ठीक है, if we are getting violet color, that means it's a very very strong base. 14 पे भी dark violet ही आएगा. ठीक है, so this is basically, you can say, the color chart which we get with the pH scale. जो pH scale आता है ना, उसमें color chart दिया होता है. और एक पीएच पेपर होता है। ये जो यूनिवर्सल इंडिकेटर डाई है अभी तो उससे एक पीएच पेपर बनता है। ये पीएच पेपर को, स्मॉल पी एम सॉरी, जब पीएच लिखोगे ध्यान रखना इट इज स्मॉल पी एंड कैपिटल एच। सो पीएच पेपर we introduce in any unknown solution, and then the color change happens, and then we compare the color change of this pH paper with the pH chart। ये जो pH chart है, यूनिवर्सल इंडिकेटर चार्ट, उसके साथ वो कलर चेंज को कंपेयर करके हम pH वैल्यू पता लगाते हैं, एंड देन we understand whether a solution is acidic or basic, or how strong acid or how weak acid, or how strong base or how weak base. This we understand using pH value. So this is a very important concept, that is the concept of pH, which tells us about the strength of acidic and basic solution. I hope you have understood this. Let's end this part. It's going to end soon. So the next thing which we are going to study is importance of pH in everyday life. Importance of pH, ठीक है? हमारे रेगुलर लाइफ में वी आर सो मच यू कैन से कंसर्न्ड विथ एसिडिक एंड बेसिक सब्सटेंसेस अराउंड अस कि जो पीएच है ना एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है। सो व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ पीएच इन एवरीडे लाइफ? आवर बॉडी works within a narrow pH range of 7 to 7.8. Plants and animals also survive in a narrow range. ठीक है? हमारा बॉडी, अगर तुम ब्लड टेस्ट करोगे या यूरिन टेस्ट करोगे, तो ब्लड टेस्ट और यूरिन टेस्ट का जो रिपोर्ट होता है ना, अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई पुराना रिपोर्ट है तो उसको निकाल के देखो, you will find a very important you can say column over there which mentions the pH of your blood or pH of your urine. तो तुम्हारे ब्लड का जो पीएच लेवल है वो 7 to 7.8 के अंदर ही होना चाहिए। अगर कम या ज्यादा है दैट मीन्स देयर इज सम इश्यू विथ योर बॉडी। तो प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स के साथ भी ऐसा ही है, दे ऑल्सो सर्वाइव इन अ नैरो पीएच रेंज, एंड द पीएच रेंज इज फ्रॉम 7 to 7.8 फॉर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स। इन एग्रीकल्चर एवरी क्रॉप ग्रोज बेटर इन पर्टिकुलर पीएच रेंज। पर्टिकुलर बोला है। For example, rice grows better in slightly acidic soil, sugarcane in neutral, and citrus fruits in alkaline soil. So, farmers, they prepare the soil in such a way, they put some chemicals sometimes, and they prepare the soil in such a way that it is suitable for growing a certain kind of crop. For example, if the soil is acidic and the farmer wants to grow oranges there, he cannot, because oranges require alkaline soil. So what the farmer will do is he will add some alkaline substance or chemicals to the soil and make it alkaline. First it will become neutral because the soil was originally acidic, and then more alkali when added to the soil, it will make it more alkaline, and hence he can convert that soil into alkaline soil and grow citrus fruits on that. In medicines, certain diseases are diagnosed only on the basis of pH value of blood and urine, जो मैंने तुम्हें बताया. In digestive system, hydrochloric acid is produced in stomach, which helps in digestion of food. But if it becomes excess, the pH falls. The body becomes acidic, and pain and irritation occurs. इसको acidity बोलते हैं. To get rid of this, antacids like milk of magnesia is generally used to adjust the pH. डाइजीन या जो मेडिसिन होती है जो तुम एसिडिटी को कंट्रोल करने के लिए लेते हो, दैट इज एंटासिड, which controls the pH of your digestive tract of your stomach. तो जो स्टमक में एक्सेस ऑफ हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड है जो अभी तुम्हारे चेस्ट में बर्निंग सेंसेशन दे रहा है, वो उसको कंट्रोल करता है. In saving tooth decay, substances like chocolates and sweets are degraded. तो जब तुम स्वीट खाते हो तो तुम्हारे माउथ में जो भी बैक्टीरियाज है, दे डिग्रेड. So when you eat chocolates and sweets, these substances have high amount of sugar in them. Okay, तुमने डॉक्टर से सुना ही होगा कि चॉकलेट्स और स्वीट्स ज्यादा खाना अच्छा नहीं है, और जब भी खाओ तो उसको मुंह धो लेना, ब्रश कर लेना. क्यों बोलते हैं ऐसा डॉक्टर्स? बिकॉज when you eat these sweets, they are decomposed in your mouth, and the sugar which is left, it is basically attacked by the bacteria present in the mouth. और ये बैक्टीरिया जब वो शुगर को कंज्यूम करते हैं, उसको डीकम्पोज करते हैं, तो these bacteria they produce some acidic excretion in your mouth. It sounds very gross, but it is the truth. The bacteria which when attack the sugar and decompose the sugar, they produce some acidic excretion in your mouth which attacks the enamel of the tooth. वो जो एसिड है वो तुम्हारे टूथ का एनामल को अटैक करता है, क्योंकि अब तुम्हारे जो माउथ है उसका जो पीएच वैल्यू है वो 5.5 से नीचे गिर गया. तो टूथ एनामल विच इज कैल्शियम फॉस्फेट विच इज द हार्डेस्ट सब्सटेंस इन आवर बॉडी, it starts getting corroded due to that acid which is present in your mouth. अभी तुमने क्या किया, स्वीट खा लिया, चॉकलेट खा लिया, then you didn't brush your mouth, तो बैक्टीरिया तो ऑलरेडी है ही. तुम ये नहीं बोल सकते नहीं मेरा माउथ में तो बैक्टीरिया नहीं है. हाउ कैन यू से दैट? बैक्टीरियाज आर एवरीवेयर. बैक्टीरियाज आर इन एवरी पार्ट ऑफ योर बॉडी. तुमको लगता है ये बॉडी तुम्हारा है, लेकिन ये बॉडी तुम्हारा नहीं है, ये बैक्टीरियाज का बॉडी. बैक्टीरिया को लगता है ये बॉडी मेरा है, तुमको लगता है ये बॉडी मेरा है. ये तुम्हारे बॉडी के हर पार्ट में बैक्टीरिया है, तुम्हारे माउथ में भी बैक्टीरिया है. ठीक है. अब जो सलाइवा है ना, सलाइवा इज अल्कलाइन. इट हेल्प्स टू इंक्रीज द पीएच टू सम एक्सटेंट. But toothpaste is used to neutralize the excess acid in the mouth. So whenever you eat anything, see, because if you eat carbohydrates also, carbohydrates matlab rice, roti, chapati, all these substances when you chew, they create this, they break down by the action of saliva in your mouth, and they produce sugar. और ये जो शुगर है वो बैक्टीरिया उसको अटैक करता है और वो एसिडिक एक्सक्रीशन प्रोड्यूस करता है तुम्हारे माउथ में. माउथ एसिडिक हो जाता है, टूथ डीके शुरू हो जाता है. सो ऑलवेज यूज टूथपेस्ट, ऑलवेज ब्रश योर टीथ. टूथपेस्ट इज बेसिक इन नेचर. ठीक है, इट इज अ बेस. इट विल न्यूट्रलाइज योर माउथ एंड इट विल नॉट अलाउ द टूथ डीके टू अकर. ठीक है. बी स्टिंग, इट लीव्स एसिड इन द बॉडी. अगर तुम्हें कभी बी स्टिंग हुआ है, मतलब किसी मधुमक्खी ने काटा है तुमको, तो तुम्हें पता होगा कि हाउ हाउ मच इट बर्न्स. ठीक है, बिकॉज इट लीव्स दैट स्टिंग, वॉस्प स्टिंग और बी स्टिंग. वॉस्प जो होता है, वॉस्प इफ वॉस्प बाइट्स यू, इट लीव्स सम स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस इन योर बॉडी. बट इफ बी sting happens, then it leaves acid in your body. So if baking soda or a base is applied on the stung area, it gives relief. So that is also neutralizing the effect of acid. Okay, so this was the second part of the chapter. Ab in text questions hai, and there are like 18 questions. Now some of the students, they might have this new textbook, Selena Concise. So it is good if they have the textbook, they can do the in-text from their own textbook. जो नए in-text questions है वही तुम लोग कर सकते हो. इसमें कुछ क्वेश्चंस कम या ज्यादा होंगे, तुम वही करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. ठीक है. बट जिसके पास सेलिना अभी भी नहीं है, उसके लिए मैं डेफिनेटली ये जो पेज है मेरे पास, उसको मैं तुम्हें भेज दूंगा, फिर तुम लोग ये कर सकते हो. ठीक है. सो दिस पार्ट इज डन. नाउ विल बी मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट, दैट इज सॉल्ट एंड देयर लेबोरेटरी प्रिपरेशंस. अभी मुझे पता है कि ये पार्ट में से कुछ चीजें ओमिट की है, बट वी आर गोइंग टू डू इट कंप्लीटली. बिकॉज तुम जो मेमोराइजेशन वाला पार्ट है वो तुम स्किप कर सकते हो, बट यू शुड हैव द फुल नॉलेज, इसलिए मैं कुछ स्किप नहीं करना चाहता. ठीक है. सो दैट विल बी आवर नेक्स्ट पार्ट, बट टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू दिस होमवर्क इन अ while. So watch the video, take notes and do the homework properly. See you in the next video. Bye bye.